Hey everyone, my name is Jay Rosenthal. I'm the founder of CPS Protect Consulting Services and a former CPS investigator. Coming to you from New Orleans. Child welfare consultants need some occasional R&R too. But even now, I haven't stopped working either. It's interesting. Every state and municipal CPS agency seems to have its own name. In the case of Louisiana, it's DCFS, the Department of Children and Family Services. And wherever I go, there's no shortage of stories of families who are worse off after CPS gets involved than they were before CPS got involved. Over my time as a CPS investigator, and now as a child welfare consultant helping families prepare for and navigate CPS cases successfully, I've seen a lot. The truth is, most attorneys do not help before CPS brings the case to court. So before that, families are entirely on their own, no matter how much you pay a private attorney. Almost all of them will just sit down and tell you to do whatever CPS wants and hope for the best. While the extreme opposite rarely works, this approach isn't usually effective either, and at best, prolongs involvement. Of course, a parent can represent themselves pro se, but many of them do not have the time, and others do not have the literacy skills to do so. That doesn't make them bad parents, but it puts them at an even further disadvantage. When you look at how convoluted the laws are, the policies, I liken it to the U.S. tax code. It really is that convoluted, especially when you take into account different states. So this basically leaves one option: work to avoid CPS involvement in the first place and have the right team behind you on day one. On a personal level, I'd never face CPS alone, no matter how much I know, just because CPS cases are among the most frightening experiences any parent can endure. And I wouldn't be in the right frame of mind to handle it alone if it were my kids. Parents don't exist in an emotional vacuum. Nobody does. We're not robots that can make the statistically best decision without our own fears pulling at us. This is why I created CPS Protect Consulting Services, particularly Urgent Assist. Now, we often receive inquiries from families who've spent all they have on attorneys who did nothing for them, families who have had their rights terminated, or families who are 2 years into their CPS case. And often, our intake specialists have to tell them that urgent assist is unlikely to be effective enough to warrant the cost at this stage. We don't want to mislead parents or offer them an outcome we don't believe we would be able to provide. It's heartbreaking we have to say that, but that's why it's so important to subscribe before CPS ever gets involved in the first place. I mean, think about it. If you've endured a CPS case or an investigation, it's very hard to trust anybody after that, let alone somebody who says, or a company that says that they can help you prepare for and navigate CPS cases successfully. It takes a lot to win that trust, and we work very hard to do that. Like with cybersecurity, a hacker only has to be right once to protect your data. You have to be right every time. CPS can show up and do 12 investigations, and if they find the smallest thing on the 13th, it can upend your family. You have to be right every time. There's a lot of talk about creating institutions independent of the government and making services more affordable, but very few actually try to do it. Very few. Even if you don't think you're at risk of a CPS case, consider subscribing to Urgent Assist and helping us keep costs low while maintaining independence from the government. If CPS never gets to your door, you may never be able to measure how much time and money you've saved, but if it keeps your family together, minimizes CPS's presence, or even prevents it entirely in your life, reduces stress, headache, and trauma, and saves you potentially thousands of dollars in legal costs, the peace of mind is worth it. Have a blessed day and cherish your family time. It doesn't last forever. Kids grow up, and sometimes CPS runs interference.